In this video, I want to share a really cool technique which helped me a lot to create many leads. It's a technique which helps you to get inspired, to get you flowing, to get out of the no idea zone and to get you started right away. The cool thing is that all those leads will be connected and your track will sound very consistent with this strategy. So watch this video till the end if you want to know how to create cool leads. As a lot of you guys know from my streams, which you find in my members area, I usually start a project by creating a kick and bass and drums, and then I add like a huge brainstorm thing. The idea behind this is, if you would compare this to a painting, that you select like a variety of colors which all fit together and build one big theme. So the brainstorm kind of like helps you to make that prior selection so that you can really start arranging later without getting stuck so fast. And as you guys have seen in many of those streams, I usually bring leads from old projects in the brainstorm, because it helps you to get started, because they're already mixed, you already have the right settings, you know which MIDI works, if it's long or short notes. So there's like a lot of advantages, as I just mentioned, or that you have more like a signature sound in it. But it also is like a double-edged sword, because you can easily get into the trap that your tracks sound a little bit too similar. And that actually was what happened lately to me. I felt like the last maybe like 5 tracks were so consistent that I kind of like got my sound through it, but they were also missing a little bit the freshness in them, so that when you release something new that people really kind of like see, okay, that's like a new piece, and it's not like something which comes up like for the 5th time. So like you know, from like movies, they get like worse and worse with each iteration, and you don't want to have that happening to your tracks. You also want to have some progression in them, and that's what this technique will be about today. So I call this technique the rotation technique, and it's basically like that. So you can start with material from old projects. There's nothing against it, but we are going about new material today. We are selecting new presets, or if you're into sound design, you can make new sound designs. But I would suggest that you do the sound designs before and then you go into the brainstorming. But the idea behind this is that we want to have like certain elements in our track. So let's say like a full track consists of different types of elements. So we have, for example, leads, we have like atmospheres, and those you can also divide a little bit further. So you could have like an acid lead, you could have an FM lead, you could have like a melodic lead, you could have like a sample and hold lead. And the same goes for atmospheres. You could have like pads, you could have more like atonal atmospheres, you could have like FX stuff in there. And the rotation technique is very simple, basically. We create one of those elements, or maybe we take it from a track, a previous track. And in the next step, we create a new element from a different category. So let's say we start with an FM. Then next we might create a lead, which is related to that FM. And after we created that lead, we create, for example, an atmosphere, which is related to that lead. So I think you get the idea. So we're kind of like rotating between all those different elements, and we always have like one element which inspires us. Okay, so I have selected this FM lead. Now I will just click through a few presets and just listen to the tone until I find one which inspires me to that, which I find fits to that lead. And we need to bring it a little bit into the ballpark of the mix of the other one, so otherwise it will be difficult. But to be honest, I can be quite off here. But as mentioned, we're not kind of like having a different category. This is also kind of an FM-ish lead. We want to choose something new, and it doesn't need to be that we choose like a particular category. The important thing is just that we have something different. Because in the end, I believe like it's a little bit easier to jam 2 elements which have different properties. I mean, you can have 2 FMs and stuff at the same time. You can do that, you can jam that, but it's a little bit easier if you choose something different, which will fit more easy. And later in the track, the important thing is those 2 don't need to be in the same section. We're just creating like a bunch of options right now. Yeah, I have a really horrible timing. Actually, I'm training a bit piano online, and I really noticed that I cannot even play like 60 BPM on time, which is quite embarrassing. But let's check with quantization what we got out of here. Yeah, let's improve that one a bit. So I think we can go with different notes. I mean, we also have like arpeggiator in that, so it's a bit easier, I think. This driving distortion cutoff. Okay, it's those frequencies which give like a little bit different tones. But let's fix this quickly. It's just like an inspirational thing. Let's make this different. Okay, it's not the best one, but you get the idea. I mean, kind of like the one element speaks a language and the other element tries to fit into the conversation somehow. And by creating those combinations, you can create something like a Flüsterpost. I don't know if it's like whisper mail in English, but the concept is like this. You know this from probably kindergarten, like one child has like a message and then it whispers to the next one and it gets like a slightly different message each time. And that's the idea behind this. So this is kind of like our seed material. Let's call this like A, and then we're creating like a B to it, and the B creates like a C to it. And maybe in the end, the G doesn't have to do anything with the A, but that is not a problem at all, because we are having created like a bunch of elements, and it's a very quick way to get your mind, I think, to respond to stuff and to come up with ideas. And in the end, you have all those elements and you will use them in different parts of your arrangement. So in the end, maybe this liquid metal thing and the data transfer lead will not even be used in the same section. Just to make this clear, it's just like you have the same vibe to them, the same kind of like theme. Those elements will obviously be related somehow. And it actually doesn't really matter if you jam over the existing element if it doesn't fit like 100%, because you still can change the element later. You still can use it in another part. So for example, this one is taking like a lot of space because obviously it has like a lot of notes in it. It's just like a crutch to get started with the next element. So now we would just deactivate this one and then we would go to our next element. Just let's make sure that it's not mixed super badly. Yeah, I think you could have like a little bit more highs, maybe. It needs to get high a bit. Okay, so now once we have mixed it, we kind of like continue to the next element. And if you're really lazy, you can actually keep the same melody just for selecting the new element, or you could steal like MIDI from another element which you already had in your brainstorm. Then it also helps a little bit to select something which works and will fit later easier. And then you change the MIDI, of course, because otherwise you would have the same MIDI everywhere. But let's delete the MIDI here, and then we will find something which fits to that one. Yeah, I think there were some shots which were quite decent. As you have seen, I moved this from here to here because I really want to have the same starting position. Don't make the mistake that you drag this like this and then you move it here, because then you will have different positioning. And that's really important when you want to work two sounds together. Then the important thing is to find the gold in your in your shitty weird creations. And what you also can try, I showed this in many of my streams, is that you go about positions, so that you, for example, we have this loop now here, and I might want to reduce it to 2 bars. And I want to find the best thing in here. I will look section by section and try something. Let's first cut it out here, so then we have the original still left. So for example, this one is nice. We can try to fill that one. That could be cool. Both are kind of like nice. So what we could do is actually duplicate this one, use this as a variation here, and then we have this. And also what's really important, that you try a little bit with the length of the stuff here. We can also bring one here that we don't have so much gap in here. We could actually try this. The cool thing is you don't really have to think about the lead. The main ingredient in here is somehow I feel the leads are speaking a language. And it sounds a bit silly, but try to sing that lead. It's not like Robbie Williams, but you know, like try for example this one. And then kind of like try to imagine a conversation in your head and try to sing that one back how it would respond. Just imagine you're writing a movie script for a weird alien movie, and you just get like some lines which are already written in, and then it's like in that school textbooks where you need to fill out the rest. So that's kind of like how I go about this, and I think it's a really cool thing because you get very quick to a lot of cool solutions. And that's why I meant you shouldn't do the sound design here, because I think it blocks you a bit from that flow. So I would do it then before or after it. I mean, now we could go into sound design. Let's say we don't want to use this because we're so cool that we don't use presets from other guys. Which actually I don't. I'm really a fan of presets from other guys. I mean, there are so many great presets. And so we could, for example, like replace this, because Featurephonics maybe a lot of people have. So we could either like change a few things in here, or we could make our own preset now and make something which fits to that MIDI again. But we don't have to start from zero all the time. And we already have an idea how it should maybe sound. If we don't have this one here playing and then we need to come up with something in here, it's really hard. You can get trapped so easy in things that your rhythm is too slow or doesn't leave enough spaces for other stuff. And by having this thing, you automatically create something which will work with something else together. But this helped me so much on so many leads to just get started. I would call this technique like rotating or seed and rotate. And maybe there's actually a real name for that. I hope you enjoyed this little video and give you some insight.